Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Fits. Well, let's see what fits today. My voice gives out because there's a lot of pollen going on, and apparently I've got some chest allergies. And went to the doctor yesterday and just to make sure I didn't have pneumonia. And yeah, you got here's some over-the-prescription drug you can, over-the-counter drug you can get. If I had questioned whether I should go to the doctor or not. So, I better go. So I went. So it's going to cost me just to find out. I needed to get some allergy medicine at Walmart. But, anyway, so was that good or bad? I don't know. So let's, I just got on Facebook this morning, another image in one of my groups, posted this image here of the old woman and the young woman, which is a variation of my most favorite Gestalt picture, the young woman and the old woman. I don't know if you have ever seen these before, but can you see the young woman here and the old woman? The young woman, this is her left eye, and this is her left ear. The old hag, here's their old woman's left eye and her nose. Can you see the young woman here? This is the left side of her face, her cheek, her little nose, her ear. Or the old woman, the old hag. Here's her left eye, here's her nose, here's her mouth. So they're pretty much the same outline of the image, although each one is a different content, but the pattern is the same. So this reminds me of tests that they do with baby ducks and chickens and stuff. And if they show the baby the pattern of a hawk, the chick or the will run for cover. So it's the pattern that gives meaning and not the content, in the sense that you could change the color of you could change the color or whatever. But it's the pattern that's prior to the content that gives you the meaning. So let's talk about, well, which is it, you see? This is a Gestalt picture because it kind of like illustrates in a visual way, in a fun way, the operating system of perception and reality. So that this is called the discriminating mind. The discriminating mind is one that can discriminate between the old woman and the young woman. And you could even say, at least I say, that this discriminating mind came into existence as told retrospectively by the Garden of Eden. So when Adam and Eve bit the apple, they created the discriminating mind. They could tell good from evil. Is the old woman evil and the young woman good, you see? So here you have a little duality of good and evil. So this discriminating mind only works when you have two. If you see what I mean? In other words, in order to discriminate, you have to take, in order to discriminate, you have to take the one and create two. If you can't discriminate, you can't choose between one or the other. And this is what we call a double bind. If I go to Walmart and I have a list, and there is one of the items is a little ambiguous. In other words, my wife didn't clearly footnote and describe exactly what I was looking for, so it's ambiguous. I get into, is it this or that? See? Both of them, is it this cereal or that cereal? I don't know. They both look good. Is it the old woman or the young woman? What if it's both? Well, see, usually with these pictures, you either see the old woman or you see the young woman. And you'll notice that if you try just to focus on the one woman, the old woman, the young woman will force its way into perception and it will replace the old woman. And then you just try and hold the young woman and the old woman will come forth. Why is that? You see, because each one, the young woman or the old woman, is a one by itself. It's a whole picture. The young woman or the old woman, each is a standalone picture, you see, a standalone reality. The one, I've got it, but I can't hold it. It begins to shift into the other. And then, it's the other, it's the other. So I hold that no, and it begins to shift back here. So this is like a dramatist, this is like me at Walmart. Is it this one or that one? I say, oh yeah, well this is it. But then I doubt, well maybe it's this one, and this one comes back. Oh yeah, that's it. And I want to get the right one because I don't want to go home and get the wrong one. And my wife say, you idiot, you screwed up again. Or I don't want to have to call up and say, I can't figure it out. Or do I give up and go get a tech support or go get a clerk, you see. So this creates a wah, 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 wah. There's a little bit of anxiety here. Because I can't choose. Okay? When we can't choose, we oscillate between this and that. And the mind, you, the one mind is divided into two equal pictures, two equal realities. And we can't stand that. It's called anxiety, and that anxiety can go very quickly into a panic. A panic attack is when you've got two realities and you can't choose one or the other. So you're kind of like in this wah, 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 microphone up against the amplifier. Wah, 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 turn it off. Wah, 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 turn it off, you see. So an ambiguous situation will create a division in the discriminating mind where it cannot choose the one. But it must choose the one because your choice of the one makes you one. We don't really understand that, and it's taken me 80 years to figure this out. You see, that we choose ourselves by choosing the one reality that we believe is the one reality. So my belief, then I choose. So I believe that this is just a picture of the old woman and the young woman doesn't exist. Because I see the young woman, the old woman, and that's the real picture, and I believe that because I can see it. And you can't make me see any different because I identify with what I believe, and that belief holds me in place, you see. My certainty that the old woman is the only picture there makes me certain of myself. So my belief gives me certainty and a place in this changing, ambiguous reality full of just data and stuff floating around, you see. It fixes me. My belief fixes me and stops my fear of the anxiety and the fear of not being able to choose. You get that? You understand what I'm saying here? This situation where I can't choose creates an uncertainty about myself. I lose my center, and I become dependent upon somebody else to get me out of the fix then. You know, so this is a very everyday mind thing. We become, in marriages particularly, the husband and the wife both have their domain. So maybe the husband's wife's domain, the man's domain is the outside, the car, tools. And so when the wife gets in that domain, she's like, wow, what is that? I can't choose. What? Help, you fix it. And get in the kitchen, or maybe in some domain of the woman, you see, the man is all thumbs and fingers. Well, I don't know, what is that little round thing? You know, that's a thumb thing for so you know. No, you don't even know what stuff is. You know, you can't even, you fumble jump, a fumble bum. You know what I mean? So we all have our domains where we have certainty, but we get in an unfamiliar area, we're uncertain and we can't choose. So then we rely on an authority, you see, or the expert. So, but what we're looking at here is how the discriminating mind actually cuts reality, which is one. Well, I take this again, take the example here. What is the one here? Well, the one is the ink blot, just the ink blot. So if you just had, if you didn't see either picture, you would just see an ink blot. And then there'd be an ink blot, and then suddenly, oh, I see an old woman. And that would rise up, you see. Now, and now you can't see the ink blot. All you can see now is the old woman. But then I say, well, there's a young woman there too. Can you see that? Oh, no, I can't see it. So you effort. You stare and you sweat. And I know there's a young woman there because he just told me and I believe him. But all I see is the old woman. So I struggle. And if I can't, I quit. I can't. As soon as I quit struggling, oh, there's the old woman. Ha ha, I was there all the time. Now, suppose you're walking in the forest and you see an old laurel tree full of bumps and bark. And you say, oh my God, there's Jesus. Come look, everybody come look, there's Jesus. And I see Jesus in the bark. And everybody comes looking and they can't see it. What? All I see is bark. No, it's Jesus. And you can't see the bark. All you can see is Jesus. Now the question is Jesus in the tree or is it in you? Is Jesus, is the old woman in the ink blot or is it in you? So perception, when we the discriminating mind, now you see we're drawing a difference here between the discriminating mind and the relaxed mind, right? The discriminating mind is going to see the young woman or the old woman. It discriminates. And so once it discriminates, it sees the one. It takes the one, takes half the whole, and makes one out of it. You take half the apple, and you make a whole apple out of it. A whole picture. So now all you can see is half. So, but there is the other half, you see. So these, the old woman and the young woman, are two separate realities, yet they're mutually dependent. So you can't separate them, yet they are separate. See the dilemma here. The dilemma of the discriminating mind is that in order to choose the one, and that choice of the one makes you whole, makes you secure and certain and fixed and feeling okay and in your domain and in your power, you see, you choose the one out of two and then cling to it. You cling to it, you see. And this is in politics. Let's look at Hillary. So Hillary just came back to life and had a big interview the other night. And on Facebook, people saying, well, she's still evil. She's still an old hag. Clinging to that. So my perception of Hillary as being an old hag makes me feel certain and makes me feel secure and right. But is Hillary a young woman or an old woman? Is she a good person or a bad person? Trump. Trump appears. Half the country says he's an old hag. The other half says, no, he's a brilliant person. Which is it? You see? And once you see Trump as a good person, a good president, you can't see the bad person, the bad president. You cling to that perception because that's the one and only without a second. You see, the one has no two. The one has no, the one reality must be. There can't be two realities. We all know that. There can't be two worlds unless you're schizophrenic or bipolar, you see. But that's something that needs to be fixed because you can't function. If you want to function in the world, you have to function in one world. Can't be two. So the one has no second, and that's the definition of God. God is the one without a second. So, in order to be sane, we have to see reality as one without a second. But then, what is reality? Is it the old woman or is it the young woman? If I just see the young woman, then I might say I'm an optimist. I'm a Pollyanna. Everything is going to work out. Everything is good. Everything is beautiful. Everything is great. And the other person will be a pessimist. Are you kidding? Everything works. Everything fails. Everything screws up. Everything disappoints. Everything falls apart. Are you crazy? Oh no, everything is beautiful. Everything is a young woman. Everything is going to work out. Which is it? The young woman or the old woman? The optimist or the pessimist? So you see this pattern of the two that is one, and then the flip-flop back and forth. Which is it? Well, I'm holding on to this because it has to be one, but you can't hold on to the old woman very long before the young woman appears. So Trump, for instance, is being criticized because he flips back and forth between the young and the old. He has no principle. He has no, and the irony is that the Republican Party has based itself on being the one. And the Republican Party strength has been holding to its one vision, its principles, its strength. It cannot be defeated in debate. It's a monolithic view. It only sees the old woman, and it will not see the young woman. So it clings to the one. So Trump is confusing everybody because he does not hold to the one. He flips back and forth. This moment he might be saying one thing, the old woman this moment, and the next day he's saying the young woman. And he's constantly being caught. And so on this flip-flopping, and the Republican Party used to make that a rubber tire, a burning tire around the neck of any Democrat that dared to flip-flop. One flip-flop and you were dead. Remember that? Who was that? I forgot the Democrat that was accused of flip-flopping, the flip-flopper. Flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. So this is a flip-flop right here, but we don't realize that this is the way perception works. So in order to be not accused of being a flip-flopper in our mind, we cling to one perception, and that gives us the feeling of being certain and righteous. Righteousness is very important here, because you are righteous in the view you have as being the good view, the right view, the truth, you see. And your view is the young woman. And anybody who sees the old woman in reality is obviously wrong, you see. So this is a half-assed view of reality. So what is the way out of this, you see? Well, if you can't see the young woman and all you see is the old woman, relax. Relax the mind. Relax your grip on perception. Relax your grip on your righteousness. Relax your grip on being certain. And when you relax the need to be certain. So when you relax, it's like going to a massage table. Or when you sit down by a lake. I relax, you see. You relax the need to focus on the one and hold the one. Because once you just see the one, once you just see the old woman, it takes effort to hold that view against the attack of the young woman that wants to come into view. So discriminating mind divides reality into two. You hold on to your cut, your half, and that effort to hold it, because you have to hold it to keep the half that you have not selected, the other side of the story. You just cling to what you see, and the unseen is trying to come in and invade and take over, and you hold, you don't want the unseen, you don't want what you've left out to come in and invade your reality and make you realize that you are not righteous, you're not certain, and you don't know everything. So let's build a wall. Let's build a wall around the old woman, around the young woman, to keep out the old hag. We'll just build a wall and make the young woman the one reality and keep the old woman out. See how this works? You can really, if you just take this little metaphor I'm creating here, you can apply this to every area of your life. And you can see the value of relaxing, because when you can relax, the whole reality comes in. What you're not seeing comes in. What you're refusing to see comes in. What you have refused to see begins to appear. And there's a surprise when that happens. Oh my God, I didn't see that. Oh my God. I did hurt you. Oh my God, I am responsible for your pain. Oh my God, I thought I was innocent. I had such good intentions. I had such good intentions, but look, now I see that my good intentions were also bad intentions. My good intentions were the young woman, but they were also the old woman. So reality, you see, is two, but we can only see one at a time unless we relax. What we relax is the discriminating mind. There are two minds. There is the relaxed mind, which is one, and then there is the discriminating mind, which selects the one that we're going to see. And this is very valuable because you need that in order to make tools and make stuff. So everything in this room, everything that we live in, is created by the discriminating mind. But when it comes to inner peace and seeing the truth of my life, the discriminating mind is the obstacle. So I have to let go of the discriminating mind that cuts the world into two, into the wound, you see. In Christian terms, this wound is the wound in the side of Christ. So if I want to get to the resurrection, or the wholeness, or the truth, I have to let go of the mind that creates the wound. If I want to heal, which is the relaxed mind that sees the whole, that sees what I'm leaving out, if I want to see what I'm leaving out, if I want to have the seen and the unseen both appear to me, I have to let go of the spear that wounded the Christ, which is me. The spear that wounds me is my own discriminating mind that I'm using in the wrong way, or that has no use when it comes to being whole and seeing the truth of life, you see. The discriminating mind would want to find out what a butterfly is by dissecting it. Or back in high school, you want to know what a frog is, you get out the discriminating mind and you start cutting it up. Is that the frog? You end up with parts. The only way to understand the frog and know what the frog is to relax the mind and just be with the frog in its pond. So the frog is part of the whole pond. You can't, discriminating mind will select the frog out of the pond and put it in a laboratory and slice it up. Well, that works if you that is a valuable aspect, but it is not. It's not balanced. So you really need both of these working together. But if both the relaxed mind and the discriminating mind are working together, which should be the dominating mind? Which is the one you should lead with? And here's where we flip. When you go to Zen or to the Eastern traditions, the dominating mind there is the relaxed mind, sees the whole. Then the discriminating mind comes in and makes choices. But it only makes choices when you understand the whole. In the West, the discriminating mind is the leading mind. So we're always cutting things up, but we can't put it back together. So we're always chasing the whole down the road. So this is the, and if you want to apply it in sexes, this is the female aspect, relaxed, whole, intuitive. And this is the male aspect, discriminating, analytical, and so in the Tao of Te Ching, the Taoism always says, lead with the female, lead with the intuitive mind, lead with the relaxed mind, and then let the male mind, let the discriminating analysis come in and work, you see. In the West, we lead with the male and subvert or put the relaxed mind in the secondary position. In the East, lead with the relaxed whole mind and then act. You see first, then act. In the West, we act first and then try to see how to fix what we did. So let's leave it with that. I hope this helps in just getting a sense of the process of how how choice works and how we get caught up in our political and family fights, and this is even describes our own mind, how we get into self-incrimination and how we get into self-hatred. All I am is the old woman. Why can't I be a young woman? I look in the mirror and see an old hag. Oh my God, where did the young woman go? I'll see you this evening.